This is our first one for the feedback week. So this is feedback week number 1. And so next week we're going to discuss whatever anybody posts in here. And like we said last week, so Dirty Red did post some pictures. And so we'll talk about the sets and the lighting and everything else. And there's also a lot of comments already in here about it. So should be pretty fun. We can all talk about it. And if anybody out there has any projects they want to post, then we can make an entire show out of just your stuff that you're working on. So that's the goal with that, and it should be pretty fun, I think. And it's a different system from what we had before, so there's really no pressure. There's no you don't have to worry about a deadline or anything like that as well. So that's probably one of the things that most people, hate the most is our deadlines, right? So we kind of get rid of that, and you can post it anytime. So check it out, try it out. Let's give it a shot and see how it goes. So, anyways, so last week we worked on our kid here, and this is going to be this is all in Photoshop. And so what we're doing is we are trying to create layers for Moho, and this is all going to be animated in Moho, which is a test. Which I don't know if the test, if I'm going to be happy with it or not. This could all be for nothing, all this work we've been doing, but we are going to follow through no matter what with it. So what we're doing is I'm going to go through here and just kind of clean up some of these. Well, basically what I've done is I've taken photos of everything and I've put them in layers, if you guys recall from previous weeks. And a lot of it has a lot of green spill still, which I'm really not happy with. And you can see like this sort of faint green line around everything, and that's going to really hinder most of the look of the project. And that's what I want to kind of clean up a little bit on this character. I think the lighter color characters probably don't have this problem as bad. And one character has green hair and stuff, so that's definitely not a problem. But all right, so let me get in here. Let's start at the top. I'm gonna hide all these layers, and we're gonna expose one layer at a time, and just clean things up a bit before we move on to our next character. So I'm gonna use my eraser tool, and with the eraser tool, I can just erase the whole thing if I want to. But we're not going to do that, obviously. We want to just make sure we get any green stuff or any strange artifacts, things like that. A lot of times, like when you photograph things, when you use a DSLR camera, if you have a long exposure time, what usually ends up happening is you'll get like these like stray pixel kind of artifacts. I mean, it seems for some reason that the artifacts that my particular camera creates are like little stars, like a little cross that's white. It's kind of strange, and my lens also creates a problem because I've got a lens that I bought it used on eBay, and when I photograph this stuff, there's like a gray dot that's always in the same place on every frame, and it's really annoying because especially if I take a photograph of something lighter colored, my Canon DSLR, it just has that dot there, So now I'm hoping it's on the lens and it's not, the CCD chip, that's on there that actually sees the light, which I don't think it is because every time I restart the camera, it's got this cleaning operation that it does. It's automatic. So it says like sensor cleaning when you start it up. So I'm praying it's not the CCD, because if it is, then that could be a very expensive fix. You gotta send the camera into the Canon factory, and they gotta take it apart, and they gotta change that CCD or whatever is involved. And one time I was taking pictures with I had a what was it? Was it a Fuji? No, it was an Olympus. Z-5050, I think, was the model number. And it was a pretty darn good camera. Like it was my first camera that I could shoot with and get really nice high quality images. And I think it was like just a 5 megapixel or something like that. not really that great, but at the time, that was really good, and everybody was saying it was comparable to using like a 16 millimeter camera, film camera. And so I was taking pictures of this, like these really amazing clouds where I lived. And well, I sort of pointed it at the sun just for a brief instant, and because of that, you know, I burnt the CCD and had to get that fixed. And I still had the camera, um, but I don't use it anymore. Yeah, I mean, I've got a better, my Canon DSLR camera is 10 times better, but um, I learned the hard way. Do not point your camera at the sun under any circumstances. Yeah, I do have a pen, but it doesn't work as nice as my mouse, and the reason why is because I'm holding shift often to get straight lines. So I'm more efficient with my mouse. I hope it's not too annoying though. The only thing I bought I bought a Huion tablet. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of these. They're actually pretty good. It's only about maybe I think I paid like $50 for one. They're comparable to Wacom tablets, and I mean it works just like a Wacom. I don't see what the difference is. Like I don't really know why Wacom charges so much for their tablets. I guess it's like a brand name thing or something. It's like Nike shoes are more expensive, even though they're really not better than other, cheaper brands usually. Well, that's not completely true, but I mean they aren't like worth, in my opinion, $120 for a pair of tennis shoes. But the Huion tablets, those are actually, the one that I've got, I use with ZBrush, and I primarily use it for hair because you can get kind of get a nice flowing line that way with one of those versus with the mouse. So that's what I primarily use my tablet for. And usually I don't really go that detailed either with hair. So I mean I couldn't justify paying like a few $100s for just a Wacom tablet. Hey, Hoserloo. Yeah, my camera, rest in peace, right? But I did get it fixed, and I loved that camera. I mean, I took a lot of great pictures with it, and still have them, obviously. I bought it when I was in Pennsylvania. I actually miss living there, believe it or not. I miss Pennsylvania. So let's see. Okay. That's good. I was afraid I might be bugging you guys with the click, 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 click. So Ron says he uses his Wacom tablet constantly, but with both a pen and a mouse. Yeah, see, I use a lot of shortcut keys with my keyboard, and I just find it really hard to do, to use the keyboard and the tablet. And then the other thing is that it seems like I had to move things really far with my pen on the tablet. So like if I want to click on another layer here or something and then go back, it's just a very big wrist motion. And I can understand why, like you want to have accuracy. Oh, what is this here? There's like a stray something there. Get rid of that. All right. But yeah, you want to have that accuracy with the tablet, and so I learned when I used Krita. Krita's that free program for graphics, which in some ways is even better than the version of Photoshop I'm using right now. And I learned that when you set up like a Wacom tablet or a Huion tablet and that kind of thing, that sometimes the tablet will conform to the shape of either your monitor or the tablet itself. And so if you get like one of those plastic, like for drafting where you can draw perfect circles, it's like a flat piece of plastic with different size circles in it. You get one of those things and you draw a circle with your pen on your tablet. And if it seems like it's oval shaped, it's because it's conforming to the shape of your monitor and not your tablet. So in order to get an accurate setup on your tablet, you want to make sure that it's drawing a nice perfect circle, and that your tablet is what is dictating the accuracy or the shape of your what you're trying to draw, if that makes sense. So there's actually some really weird things about tablets that I never understood before I tried to actually paint in a legitimate way in the paint program, because there's actually a lot involved that I never knew. And there's actually some pretty good tutorials out there, especially for Krita, which is an open source program. Now here are some of these artifacts I was trying to tell you guys about. So you see these little white dots? That is from a long exposure. And there's a way you can set your camera up to reduce noise like this. But let's go 100% opacity. But that doesn't always work. I'm just going to try to hide some of these little things, little imperfections here. Oops. The rest of these seem to be just regular old dust and dirt on the clay, which I'm going to keep that in there. Okay, let's get this one cleaned up a bit. Get some arms cleaned up. Oh, you work in Pennsylvania, Hoser? That's cool. When you say you work in PA, does that mean that you're like driving back and forth to another state or something? Because that's always fun. I think some of this green spill here I can't really get rid of. I can get rid of the edge, but the green spill does seem to kind of go into the part a ways. This here I think is just a blank layer. I'm going to delete this one. There's nothing there. And this one I know I cleaned up already. Move on to this one. So Ron says his Wacom tablet has settings for the screen size and how the cursor behaves with that field. Mine is set to replicate the screen exactly. That's good. Yeah, it depends on your preference, because you can go with the screen, you can go with the tablet. I mean, I know that there's things like mouse acceleration and things like that. So like if you try to do it with the mouse, it's even harder to get any perfect circles and stuff. So this here, I'm going to try to merge this down onto this layer. I think I wanted to do this last week. Okay. So I can't do that. This is the weirdest thing. Let me do this. I'm going to turn off. First off, wait. Copy layer style. This is what Randy taught me last week. And copy layer styles on here. But I'm going to get rid of the drop shadow on here. Now I'm going to try to blend down or merge down. Alright, now I'm going to paste layer style. See, I don't understand why. So I've merged this shadow onto here, onto this layer. But it's counting it as two layers, even though these are merged already. and it's giving me a shadow, not only for the body, but for this blob that I put on there, this shadow blob. Alright, I'm going to backtrack. I'm deleting the shadow, and I'm just going to forget about that because my program is bugged. Pretty certain that's a bug, and I mean, not really supposed to be using this software on Windows 10 anyway, because this is like Adobe Photoshop CS2, I think. This is really old, which is why like the screens tend to disappear and everything on me. But I can't justify like paying whatever it is a month just to use Photoshop. Because they got their whole pay a monthly fee just to do simple stuff. Because I don't really use Photoshop for much more than like what you're seeing here. I mean, I don't use it for really major projects or anything. I don't consider this a major project. I probably should have done this in Krita, but I'm not super efficient with it like I am with Photoshop. If you can call this efficient. Hey, Weebeast, what's going on? Drop shadows? Yeah, I mean, the reason I want to use drop shadows in this run is because I want it to look like the layers have a little bit of depth. Like I'm doing a traditional clay on glass project where there's a little bit of shadows from the light. So it's just so it doesn't look as flat, like I'm moving around cutouts, which is what I technically am. So I don't know if this is really, I've been thinking about this, like how long it's been taking me to do this, clean up all these images and stuff. And I think it would have been faster just to animate this stuff, like straight ahead, stop motion. I don't know. I don't know if this is a better solution or not. Like I said, that's why I'm doing this as a test, because I don't really know if I ever get a job doing this for somebody where I can just sit down and spend all my time, because I'm being paid to do it, and go ahead and make like a commercial or something with this method, I'll have to think really hard about if I would do it this way. I mean, oh, okay, so this is actually the last bit. And there is some green here, so I'm going to get rid of this line. And we are done with this character. This character is ready for animation. So, I mean, it's not really that inefficient of a process. I mean, it only did take me, what? So it took last week and about 20 minutes. So an hour and 20 minutes to clean up the character and get them all ready for animating. I guess I really can't complain about that. Alright, so I'm going to save this. This character's ready for animation. But I really would like to have a shadow on his body here. Maybe I should just add it directly on him. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to do that anyway. And if I goof up, I can just undo it. Let's go with like a nice... maybe 100? Yeah. Oops. It's a bit dark. Let's go with maybe 50% opacity, see what that looks like. No. Let's go with maybe 30%. Huh. Oh. That's weird. If I Control Alt Z, it actually changes to a different layer. Alright, let's go back to this layer again and then try again. There we go. That looks pretty good. It's not bad. Let's let me just, yeah, that's a bit better. Alright, so now we have some shadow here. I think that'll help make it look like this arm is sort of attached to the body. Alright. Saving it. And we are done with that character. Yeah, it seems like it's been about a year. I don't know if it's been that long, but it has been pretty long. So let's see what we have. So in our, we've got our Kid 2. You know, one of the things I need to do is I need to download something that I can get thumbnails for all my Photoshop documents, because I hate having to guess what all this stuff is, even though I've got it labeled nicely. So the mother number 1 might be what I go for next. Alright, this is the nightmare that I face. So we're going to take all this stuff and turn it into one file. So all this stuff is separated, so which is good. So I'm thinking the size, the widest size would be this stretched out body, and the tallest would be this, or squashed body, and this would be the stretched out body. So let's just say we need something about, and if we got the arms and they're stretched out, might be like, I guess, about this size. All right. So why did I choose stop motion? Well, that's a good question. Well, I mean, it's mostly because I was inspired by, I mean, my main inspiration was Will Vinton Productions when I was growing up. And so I don't know how old you are, but Will Vinton Productions was my main source of inspiration. They did like the Domino's Pizza Noid, California Raisins, Claymation Special, you know, that kind of thing. I just, you know, I thought that was the best stuff you could ever see in the world when I was growing up. So I aspired to kind of, you know, make similar projects. And at the time, you know, I worked in with film. So before there were even, you know, digital web cameras, I was trying to capture animation using film, like Super 8. And I kind of got into stop motion like right around the time when, you know, digital cameras were just coming on the market. So I sort of learned how to do stuff with digital cameras, and later on, oops, I'll put this back here. Photoshop is moving around here. Here we go. So you guys can see how this will work. So we have like the squash and stretch bodies, right? So we have squash, slightly squashed, and then normal. And let me see here. So I've got like a front and side view. This is the more complicated character, by the way. This is the main character, right? So she's going to be doing a lot of stuff. And I know that you can do squash and stretch in Moho when I bring this in there. So I don't know if even making these replacement parts was a smart idea. So Ron says, I chose stop motion because when I was learning animation, it was the only option in the early 1980s. And Evie says, I chose it because I like being able to touch and pose the characters with my hands. Yep, that tactile part is something that a lot of people really love. You know, that's something that most people just get enjoyment out of. So what was the oh, these are the, oh, this is funny. So I sculpted a left and right side for the cycle here, but I only need one side. I sculpted both, but for Moho you don't need both. So I can cut out these here. I can cut out oops, this. I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, this or this. Yeah, Ron, I hear ya. I mean, yeah, digital stuff was just coming out, when I was learning. So I was sort of in that in-between stage. I mean, the camera that I used was, oops. I should put this up top so I can see what I'm doing. Or actually, no. Let me get rid of this. No. I used a Kodak Cine Special, which was really cool. You can do double exposures with it, and my first film that I made was Teddy Bear's Mistake, and it was a dumb film. It was like a skeleton eats a bear in a cage, and that was the whole purpose of the film. Like, there was no meaning to it or story. I just wanted to make something that I envisioned, and I didn't really care about the rest. So that's what I did, and but honestly, it was, I'm still pretty proud of how it turned out. I had to learn how to use film camera, how to put the film inside of it, how to wind it up, how to like back wind it, and then had to learn how to do double exposures. And then they had these little pieces inside where you could cover and mask off parts of the frame. Like, stuff that you would do in Photoshop, super easy now, was done all inside the camera. Yep, we are lucky. And Jason Diaz says, replacement parts is always a good idea. Yeah, I think that it'll sell it as a stop motion, project, and not a hybrid project, which is really what it is, right? It's not really completely stop motion. It's not really digital. It's kind of in between. Oops. So I'm hoping that, let me see if all this lines up now. So that lines up. So if I move this down, straight down, hide that one. Oops. So this, I would move this down. So what I want this character to do is look like she's kind of slithering. I don't know if you want to call it slithering, but like her body's kind of squashing, and also the back part of her dress kind of goes backwards, almost like a snail or something. I couldn't really figure out a good way for locomotion with this character. But I think that, let me see. I'll move this back up again. I think this will look pretty good. Just to give the illusion of motion. This one. Let's back up a bit, and then this has to go over. So I think I was saying before, like that green spill is not as prominent on certain models, and I don't know, I guess maybe my lighting was slightly different or something when I was taking her photos. Oops. So this just has to be bent a little bit to line up. There we go. All right. So, where's the neutral body? Here it is. So now we got some arms to contend with. And I'm going to put the arms maybe here. Oop. Where is it? It's behind the body. So should I put it in front or in the back of the body? I think the back's probably alright. I think that'll work. So Ron says, learning to do things the harder way forces you to understand what makes images work better. The best effects are still done in front of the lens, not in post. Yeah. You know, and I kind of like, if you ask me, and because, you know, there's a lot of people that they started out in film. Like, I think Steven Spielberg as well is, he's like, film is the ultimate medium, you know, for capturing images. And so a lot of people are, they kind of, they debate that, you know, is it better than film? You know, because you could use like filters and stuff like that in film, and, you know, is it better? Is it not better? Well, I think when you project it, it is better. But I think on a computer screen, it's not, if that makes sense, because it just looks really beautiful projected. I don't know if you guys have, like when you go to a movie theater, on a big screen, it's harder to tell, but when you're actually, you know, projecting in your house on just a screen and on a wall, or near a wall, certain film just really looks amazing. Just see here. Is this the right or the left arm? I think this one goes on the right. This one is the left. Pretty sure about that. Let me see. Or are these both right arms? This one's got a lot of shadows. This is going to be when the arm is high. Yeah, this one goes over here. I'm not really sure if I like the arm behind the body or if I should put it in front. That behind is better. That'll work. Alright. Sorry, I'm just trying to think. And this one... I don't really know now. I can see the angle of the light, so this one here is probably best for here. I don't really know. I should have tried to label these arms better. Well, I'll leave it there for now. Hey, Anamatast and Randy. You think the arm needs to be in front? Well, see, I think when I was planning on doing this, I was going to keep the arms in the back for the front view, but for the side view, that was when I was going to put the arms in front. And I would have one on the front, on one side, and then one, let's see, where's that side view at? So like right here, this arm would be in the front, and then these would be in the back. So this would actually be like this. But this arm would be like that. Like this, see? Because this would make more sense. So as she's running, it looks like this arm is behind her. It's going to get confusing in Moho. I'm not sure if I should make like a separate file for side views, but if I do that, it's going to get really complicated. Alright, well I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave it the way it is. Oh. No. Shouldn't have closed that one. Arms too. Alright, this one. Yeah, Ron, I see what you're saying. I'm gonna have to slide the arms around in Moho for sure, because when I had the 3/4 view, things won't line up anymore. So that's kind of one of the things that I'm gonna have to contend with. So like this one, actually would work pretty good in that at that angle. And this one. Okay, and I think actually what I did is the angle that they're at is the way they're supposed to be on here, roughly. So that one arm that I've got here is probably going to be... I don't know if that one matters. 2 arms might be enough for this, actually. But I'll keep these here for now. Maybe like this. Like an up and down arm. And this one would also be up and down. Or more closely to like this. The other thing I'm noticing is the arms. I think that when I photographed some of these, I had a different zoom level because the hands seem to be different sizes. So I'm going to also work on that. Let's see, this one here is a little bit too large, so I'm going to free transform that. Now if you hold shift and you resize something, it resizes it equally in all directions. Keeps the scale and doesn't skew things. So this one here, I'm also going to do the same thing. Resize that one just a bit. There we go. You're a 3D animator and you're here to watch a stop motion animator. Well, this is kind of a hybrid, you know. This isn't really stop motion. This is kind of in between. So this would have been, you know, if I had animated this on glass, it'd be pure stop motion, but it's slightly different because I'm trying to, you know, preserve everything on one hand and increase efficiency. Like if I wanted to reanimate this, you know, these characters in the future, all the hard work would be done here. And I can go in here and like if you wanted to make it like a, for example, a series of cartoons or something with these characters, doing it this way makes it a lot simpler using the program called Moho, which is what I'm going to actually use to animate them. And it's more like a South Park style kind of animation. So everything is, it's slid around frame by frame, but you can also use keyframes. So it'll speed up the, you know, technically speaking, in theory, it should speed up the animation process long term. But, you know, I don't know if it'll have the same charm as stop motion. So like I've been telling everybody who's been here listening for a while, it's more like an experiment to see how this will turn out. If it's convincing that it's, you know, a clay on glass style stop motion, that'd be perfect. Because you're kind of getting the best of both worlds and efficiency and all that kind of good stuff. which is something that you need these days. You know, if you're going to be making films that actually compete with, you know, 3D animators and stuff that are making films. In terms of, you know, trying to get things done in a timely fashion, and I mean that's the kind of stuff that is important. But sometimes it doesn't make it as much fun, you know. Like sometimes it is fun to just go straight ahead. So let's see. So this is gonna be. I'm not really sure how big I'll need to make this yet. I'll have to get her head and stick it in there. Alright, so anyway, let's get rid of some of these arms and stuff, kind of make this look like a normal character before we move forward, because it's starting to look a little bit odd, to say the least. Oh, okay. Let's go with... Oops. Let's move this arm out. Now see, I'm thinking these arms look too small now. I may end up resizing them to be about like this. So I guess technically this is it's kind of a good thing that I'm doing it on the computer, because I can just resize stuff. You know, it's just a matter of a couple of clicks. Don't have to resculpt it. Retransform, please. Thank you. Alright, well, we'll worry about resizing the rest of that stuff later. I'm not really sure, Weebeast, if you can. And Anamitas says, in the case its equivalent in pure stop motion could be in a window with backlight technique, like Ishu Patel. However, as seen in George Pal, you could say replacement is key in animation of any kind. Yeah, George Pal did things in the most hard way possible. He did things in almost like a torturously impossible way. Until, who was the guy that came on board? My friend Webster, the Asian guy that showed George Pal how to work with waxes as opposed to carving wood. Oh man, I can't remember his name now, but yeah, that was crazy. Can you imagine, like, for making every single puppet, it's a completely different carved piece of wood, all the legs and everything, and I mean, you can't really do it much harder than that, can you? Alright, now this is going to be interesting here. I'm just going to, I'm not going to resize these heads, because I'll never resize them all exactly the same. So I'm just going to resize the headdress that goes around her head like this instead. And I can see that I might need to add a little bit of shadow on this as well. It's not looking quite right here, so... And I'm going to skew it just a bit. I probably should have cleaned this clay up a bit more. It's a little bit messy compared to the rest. Well, this doesn't look too bad now. Alright. Randy says, I love Joan Gratz. Got to meet her once, one-on-one, and gave her a personal standing ovation. Well, she definitely deserves it for sure. Alright, now I'm going to move these faces exactly in the same spot on top of one another. There's a preview of what it might look like animated. You can see those two frames. Let's see. Are these all the faces now? I've only got two faces that are sideways. Let me see something here. Not sure what my thinking was with that. Not that that's bad, but... Oh, okay. These are side faces here. They're just in the opposite direction. So I know I'm going to have to probably flip all these. Got those two. This. All right. So with the headscarf here, what I'm going to do is copy, new, paste, image, put horizontal, pop that in there. So that way I know that this will be just what I need. There we go. Alright, so it's going to get very confusing in Moho with all these layers, I can tell already. Alright, so time is it? Already 8:50. Okay, so probably next week I'll finish this up, but what else can we get done here? Let's get rid of this and these faces, and then we'll need to use the straight on pose one. Now, should I go? I think this one is probably the one I was going to use. I think this middle one here is just junk. I don't know what I did there. So I don't know how large the head's going to be yet, so I'm going to just plop one in. And then I can adjust it. Let's see. Paste. So where about was the other one? There. So I'll kind of try to line this one up as well with that. So we got our front facing face. I can see already that there is a little bit of that green spill on this as well, which I don't really like. Let's resize this a little bit. So I think next week what I'll do is I'll probably, like I say, I'll add a bit of shadow around the face here, you know, get this kind of to look like the face is actually embedded in her headscarf. And what else? Maybe clean up the green, that kind of thing. We can plop a few more heads in here until we get to that point. So, wow, I got a lot of heads, and I think what I should do here is create a layer. I'm gonna create a layer, and I'm going to start Xing out stuff that I don't need anymore. So I know I got this. This is not used. Got that one. This was this face. We got the side faces here. This one. I believe this one as well. So I got that one. Got this one. The neutral face, or the smiley face. Alright. It's definitely going to get difficult to, maybe what I should try to do is name all these layers, you know, before I bring them into Moho, just so that if I want to have like the left side view, like have everything maybe like, you know, L body 1, L body 2, something like that. Not entirely sure yet. So let me see here. Ron says sometimes the easier and quicker digital way of doing things takes far more time and money than doing it for real. Yeah, like I say, I think the benefit to this is only if you're doing it long term. So if I want to make several films with these characters, this would be probably more ideal. At least that's what I think, you know. Whoops, wrong layer. I don't know why this face kind of makes me laugh a bit, but alright. Laughing at my own stuff, that's kind of weird. Alright, and this one, let's paste it in there. Oops. Oh, did I not copy that? Didn't copy it. Copy. And paste. Alright. What am I doing wrong here? I must have the wrong, yeah. Wrong layer. Again. This one here has got some serious green spill, so I'm going to get in here just real quick and clean that up. Even though I said I was going to do that next week. Oh, I think I know why though. Because, yeah, there we go. It's actually not that bad. You can see how cleaning that up makes it look like the two parts are blended together, which that looks pretty nice. So I think this might really work. Did I have this face already? Let's see. Well, I don't think I did. I think I captured this one. go. Yeah, it's not too bad. Even though it is digital, I am getting excited about it. You know, I can't wait to try try moving these characters around and see how that works out. I'm hoping that it's as easy as the tutorials make it out to be on YouTube that I've seen. And I do know that Mr. Force he's an expert at it, and he's told me that he'll help me out if I need it. So that's always good. Oops, don't want to draw on that layer. This layer. Yep, that's true, Ron. I would never use digital for an actual puppet. No way. That would not be cool. In fact, the Noid is one of my favorite characters, and that would be just horrible if he were digitally done. But I know that they've digitally redone the California Raisins. There is a digital version of those out there. That CalRab, you know, they made another commercial, and they did use I don't remember if they were the same designs though. But yeah, not even, I mean, it's not even memorable, you know, like nobody even knows that exists. And that's because it was, you know, it didn't have that same tactile quality that's so awesome. And you know what I would really love? Like, one of the things that I always wanted was to know if they had, you know, still had the film, like from Will Vinton Productions, where they shot Meet the Raisins, you know? Like all that film. Because all they've got are like VHS copies floating around out there. They don't have any film versions. And I know that the film must look, you know, if it was a negative and you transferred it over to digital nowadays using the newer digital transfer techniques, I bet it would look awesome. Like, people don't know how awesome that film was. Even though it was just a TV special, it was just one of the best animated clay pieces out there. Right, we got ourselves a squash here. This looks extremely weird, but that's going to be used later. And I'll cross this one out. And we got our stretch. So this stuff here, let's see, copy, and then paste. See, it's already 9 o'clock. Man, time goes by so quick when I'm doing this. This looks really weird. I don't think this here is, there's nothing in this layer. I'm going to delete that one. And this one. Delete. Alright. So I think this is the last head that I have to move over right here. And next week I can clean it up and hopefully it will look nice. There we are. Alright. So I'm going to save as, and then let's see, desktop, bad apples, and this is going to be PSD layered from Moho. It's going to be Mother 1. That's a PSD file, so saving it. Yes, save, please. Oof. Alright. So 1 hour's worth of work. I'm not going to save all this stuff that I wrote on here. I don't need to. So let's see. So next week we'll have to take our right side bodies and flip them and make those into a layer, as well as the heads that are facing either direction. Oh, I need to remember also to add the eyebrows. She has little eyebrows, but I didn't put them on the character's head, on the face, because as I figured it would be animated as a separate layer. So that is something I can't forget to do, and I think I needed to do that for that kid. So that might be that's something I do for him as well next week. All right. Well, that's okay. Anyways, oh, here we be. There's your link. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It looks like they're allowing you to post links in the chat now. I just had to confirm that one. That's good. Very cool. Hey, Belly Bean. What's going on? All right. Well, anyways, the time is up. Time is up, everybody. So I do want to thank you all for stopping by and hanging out for a while. Hopefully next week we'll get back to work on this. And hopefully, let's see, how many more characters do I have to do? So we got 1, 2. So we got the kid, king, mother, 1. Alright, so we got 1, 2, 3 characters out of. How many were there? And actually, I got a sculpt in their character as well. So I'd say about halfway done on the characters. But anyways, that does conclude our show, and I guess I will see you guys all next week. See you later.